Appelez-moi plutôt Excellence Chevalier Roga Roga. Voilà, je salue encore Jean-Dominique Okemba Moranzambe Devilando Nyata. Le mystère existe parce qu'il y a des mystérieux. Romy Oyo, DJ Megowa, Mesmer Gonkama Mima, Achille Plantation, Abongi, Yelo Samba Panza. C'est moi. Ludovic Kabia, Benoît Tam Tam, Albin Lebanda, Remonti, Jovis et Wapisi. Rodrigue Nguesso, Marien Ikama Kingo Bamitu, Maître Chile Mbikambongila. Ya Maxime Gondion. Aventure Ngobo Chris, Libreville Christian Monkou, Autorité du Bali, Nikia Fila. Afrique Mamba. DJ TV5, DJ Mike, Yacine Bongo Ondimba, la sœur du puissant Denis Omar, Dieu le veut pour Mandoki. Claude Nakutala le généreux, Taranjon au combi les casses. Bijou Sinato et Marli Kibi, Florian Broulalea, Moninga ya président Guy Domix, Romia le Mobenda conseiller, Yoka Yuyu Mobagé, Debraza, Mesme Atiga, Jean-Marie Kassamba, Japresse Awaga, Sampengo Bay, Hector Ibondi. Voilà. Christian Ingani Machoko des Angoules, Colonel Bakala et Domo Patas. Ça c'est vrai. Tout le monde. Germain Dion, Beethoven et Yombo Germain. Petit frère à Jésus, Doc et Dondinga, au bois à Penandé. Le premier, Jeff Itoua, Général Norbert Dabira. Bravo Sam des Angoules. Zaparo de guerre.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. We want to know who owns the land. Of course, not we, the Amazonians, but citizens of La Republic of Cameroon and political leaders in that country, and of course, the international community. That is to whom the question is being referred to. Amazonians want to know who owns the land, the territory formerly referred to as the British Southern Cameroons. That is a territory that we are demanding answers for. Thank you for tuning in. It's a great day to be here and be alive. As you join, please do me the favor, quickly go ahead, hit your share button as usual, because I can promise you this is going to be very, very exciting. I'd like to welcome all of you who are joining from ground zero, joining from Europe, joining from the continental USA, joining from South America, joining from Canada, the United Kingdom, the far and the near east, from all over the globe. Thank you for tuning in. And for those of you who are joining by way of the internet, that is Facebook, ladies and gentlemen, once more, thank you for tuning in. And as you join, as usual, do me the favor of immediately hitting your share button, so that in less than no time, we should populate this platform and get the show rolling with the one and only Honorable Joseph Wirba, ladies and gentlemen. So quickly do that, quickly hit your share button. I can actually see, I think those numbers are jumping and jumping. Please do so really, really quickly. We're not going to waste time. Hit your share button as you join, so that I can bring in Honorable Wirba for this interview to kick start as soon as possible, so we can cover as much ground as possible. But before I get there, I'd like to appreciate once more, on behalf of the Amazonian interim government, Ground Zero, and particularly Amazonia Restoration Forces, for keeping lockdown locked last week, Monday through Friday the 20th. We really appreciate you. We thank you for your resilience, for your bravery and courage to defy everything that La République du Cameroun put in place on the ground last week to make sure that they hold their so-called 20th May. The Amazonian Restoration Forces, they did everything. I know there were some sort of celebrations, I call them cacophonies, in Nkambe, in Dab, and where again. But listen, overall, every Amazonian out there will agree that we sent a strong message to La République du Cameroun that never again shall Amazonians celebrate the so-called 20th May. It is done from our history. Never again are we going to go back to it. And so we thank all of you on Ground Zero, who shut down your shops, shut down your businesses, shut down everything of your own to make sure that this call for a boycott of 20th May was total success. Thank you so very much on behalf of the interim government of Amazonia. I like also to, of course, appreciate everybody in the diaspora who donated, put in money to the interim government to make sure that the Amazonian Restoration Forces did not defend or prosecute this 20th May with their bare hands. You put money into their hands and were able to buy them weapons, especially what do they call it? Bullets to put in their AKs. Do you realize we're no longer shy of talking about weapons, because ours is war. Ours is war, ladies and gentlemen. So we want to appreciate everybody in the diaspora who chip in something so that the restoration forces could be equipped enough to face this 20th May sham celebration in our territory. Now, this is very important, fellow Ambazonians. You know that after 20th May, everything has been exhausted. They are no longer they are now in need for more and more weapons, more bullets, everything that will take them to continue to prosecute this war. All of us have been talking about the need for greater ground action. There is no way we're going to get great action, ground action, if our fighters do not have the requisite equipment, enforcement, empowerment that they need. So this is what is going to happen coming this Sunday. There's gonna be a very special fun drive, coming this Sunday, so we can we can again empower the restoration forces with the bullets they need, with the equipment they need to continue with the fire action on ground zero. So this coming Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, the interim government is appealing to every Ambazonian out here in the diaspora. Let us come together. If it is your $10, if it is your $50, if it is your $100, your $500, your $1,000, we want to come together, put it together, and send it to them so that again they can refill their armory. That again will be on Sunday. And this is what we plan to do. We plan to bring all of our major generals, commanders, and field marshals right here on this set. Yes, we plan to have them right here visiting on this set to speak to you, to address you, and possibly you may also have the opportunity to ask them questions relating to the work they are doing on the ground, talking about Ambazonia. So please take that home and save the date coming up. I think that is Sunday. Let me just make sure I get that right. That date should be on a Sunday. Oh, okay, let me see. All right, that will be on Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. That will be on Sunday, May the 29th. Sunday, May the 29th will be that major fundraiser to assist our restoration fighters on the ground to continue with their defense of the territory. Again, recall that after the 5 days lockdown, they are left with nothing that was supplied them to take care of that. Now we have to recuperate that. That is the reason, the purpose for Sunday's special fund drive, so we can refuel their armory. Take that very, very seriously. Now, more about fundraising. I like to also appreciate all of you who came in on Friday and on Sunday to chip in something to support this television channel, ABS. We were able to raise about $7,000. Of course, some of it is still out there, but we were able to raise up to that to take care of ABS. Again, for those of you who came in, chipped in something, you're $500, $200, $250, $100, $25. I think the least that ever came in the least amount was $25. Some of you made your donations. They were not announced because we had accounts all over the place in Europe, in Canada, and we didn't have access immediately to those accounts. But again, I really like to appreciate all of you for coming out to support ABS on Friday and on Sunday. And for those of you who were not able to do so, perhaps you were just never aware that a fundraiser was going on, a special fundraiser in that case for ABS was going on. I really would appeal to you. You can still support ABS. You can still donate to ABS even today. And by the end of this show, ladies and gentlemen, you can still donate to ABS. What you can do right now, you can use your phone to take a screenshot of those payment methods. Use your phone to take a screenshot of these payment methods. And while this broadcast is going on, you can go ahead, support ABS with your $20, $25, $50, $100, $1,000. I know some of you can do it. And then at the end of the program, I'm going to look and announce those who have sent in donations in the course of the program. So please take the screenshots of those payment methods and go ahead and make the payment while the show goes on. Now, if you are in Canada, if you are watching from Canada, you also have the Canadian payment method right there on your screen. So go ahead and use that e-transfer from Canada, ladies and gentlemen, to support ABS. And again, we will make sure that we read your name. We will make sure that we read your name before the program is over, just to say thank you. Just to say thank you. And if you are watching or tuning in from London or anywhere in Europe, you also have the European payment platform right there on the screen. Go ahead, use your phone, take a screenshot of that payment method platform, and please, in the course of the show, support ABS by making your widow's mite through that payment platform. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, because I believe you will do so. I believe you are going to do so. Again, at the end of the day, before the end of the broadcast, I will come to you. I will be coming to you with the names of those supporting, with the names, reading the names of those supporting, ladies and gentlemen, just to appreciate your support for ABS. All right. Now, to other matters, ladies and gentlemen, while waiting for my guest to log in and be on the set. Again, waiting for Honorable Wirba to log in and be on the set. Again, we're having a very special fundraiser on Sunday for Ambazonia Restoration Forces. Ambazonia Restoration Forces. Ladies and gentlemen, we are asking you to make sure that you tune in, support our fighters, support those who have put their own lives directly on the lines to defend Ambazonia. Now, you know that many of us in the diaspora cannot do what those boys are doing out there in the front lines. We always sit here in the diaspora, we send money. That's all we can do. That's all we can do. And I'm telling you, the highest sacrifice that you can pay is to be in the front line, is to do what those guys are doing on the ground, on ground zero. And that is why no contribution can ever be enough supporting the work that they are doing. And thank God we have a leader who is now determined, resolved to send every dime that comes in to ground zero. And that is what it ought to be. That is what it ought to be from day number one. So please do not forget Sunday. some of those commanders, generals, FMs, they shall be here to say hi to you so that and to tell you their stories and what they are doing on the ground. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I will take a 1 minute break, and after that I will bring in the Honorable Joseph Wirba, who has now joined me on the set. Stay tuned and please keep on hitting your share button. I want to see those numbers jumping. Again, 1 minute out, and I will come back with Honorable Joseph Wirba. Stay tuned, please. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for staying put in there. At this moment, I will take you into this broadcast proper. I am joined by the one and only Honorable Joseph Wirba, ladies and gentlemen, the man who moved the Cameroon Parliament a few years ago to take the Amazonian restoration struggle to another height. Last week precisely, Honorable Wirba was in Germany, where he held what you call a come-together, a gathering of Amazonians to formally put on table the dream, the vision that he has for the actualization of Amazonia's struggle for independence. Among other things, he talks about building up revolutionary committees across the diaspora and even on ground zero with which to fight La République du Cameroon until Amazonia is attained. Honorable Wirba also took a swipe at other groups that have been leading the struggle up to this moment. He was particularly critical of the idea of the interim government, not just in Germany. He has always been very, very critical of the idea of the interim government. In fact, he said he was critical of it right back from home. And amongst other things, Honorable Wirba also stated he has lived in exile now for 3 good years and had opportunity to meet with British members of Parliament, House of Commons, and I suppose House of Lords too, and also some cabinet ministers in London. You also stated he had opportunity to had quite a number of meetings officially and privately with the German group HD and the Swiss that is the Swiss organization that is out trying to mediate between Ambazonia and the government of La République du Cameroon. I invited Honorable Wirba to sit down with him one-on-one to get clarity over some of the statements he has made, and also to give us an elaborate explanation as per what these revolutionary committees are all about and how different they are from the current structures that the revolution, the diaspora, has put in place, with which they are prosecuting the revolution. I am glad Honorable Wirba accepted my invitation, and he is here today. He is here today to enlighten us. Honorable Wirba, it's a pleasure to have you, sir. Good evening from London.
The pleasure is mine, Chris. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you again. I really appreciate your joining me today. It's been quite a long time. We spoke the last time, I think, no, the last time, I think it was last Saturday briefly, but before then, I think we spoke the last time when you returned to La République from your hiding place in Nigeria. It's been quite a long time. The question that many people would want to ask is, what was in your mind when you ran away into Nigeria and then went back to La République and actually delivered another statement on the floor of your parliament? What was in your mind going back there, sir?
Chris, I appreciate your question. The first thing I'm going to do with you is to tell you that today we're going to be holding a discussion on the liberation of our homeland. This is going to be a different kind of discussion from the ones you usually hold, because I'm going to be trying to reset our mind in one direction, the direction of liberation. And no matter how difficult that direction is, my duty as someone who believes in freedom is to point my people to that direction, and hopefully, if they see what I see, if they feel what I feel, then there is a huge chance that we could get this done in good time. Before I get to that, I want to remind our listeners that I am here to talk about the revolution and the liberation, not the politics of the liberation movement. Therefore, our focus should be on how to run the struggle properly to take it to the one destination that we all want, that is Goya. So the purpose of our discussion here tonight is going to be on reminding ourselves that if we need to take our struggle to the next level and to make it work, we have to move from the political to the revolutionary and the liberationary mindset. It's a difficult shift, but I want to tell you, if we do it, we're going to find a lot of difficulties. We're going to keep running in circles. So I'm here to give that new direction so that we begin to formulate these strategies, organize the revolution, look at the new approach, and set the foundation on which a people's struggle can thrive. And for it to thrive, we need to build a very firm foundation, a foundation that depends on the peoples of Ambazonia, from the homeland to the diaspora. We need to build a foundation that depends on the people rather than on leaders and their groups and whatever ideology they have. When you build the foundation for a struggle based on the needs of the people and using the people as that foundation, you get to where you want sooner than you could imagine. Because I'm saying this, Chris, because any leader, how long does anybody live? How long do people live? Death comes at any time. And I cannot want us to work in a way that we create an impression like if one person died, if Wirba died, should Ambazonia stop its freedom struggle? It should move on after me. So we should be looking at the possibilities of what will happen to Ambazonia beyond me. Because you cannot be Ambazonia, your group cannot be Ambazonia, your government cannot be Ambazonia, and the Ambazonian struggle is about the Ambazonian people. So we need to set the foundation on them so that whatever happens to any leader or to any group, the struggle to free the homeland will march on strong and firm. I wanted to make this clear before we start. Thank you very much.
Very understood, Honorable, very understood. I would like us then, if that be the case, I like to take us back to where it all started with Honorable Wirba. Please watch.
I call it West Cameroon because you will never take it out of our mouths again, because that is a territory in which we believe in freedom. To go out on the street and demonstrate is a basic right for us. And that is why we are saying that there are two Cameroons that came together. If you are telling us, like a state minister stood here last year and told us that what happened in Cameroon is like dropping a few cubes of sugar into a basin of water. Who is the sugar and who is the water? I'm asking the government bench of Cameroon, who is that you rape our children? My brother's daughter has been raped in Boya. I swear to you, the government of this country, does the president of this country know that the governors and the DOs and all the administrators who are sent to West Cameroon are out there behaving exactly like an army of occupation? Our people have nowhere to go. We have made all the efforts. Our ancestors and our forefathers trusted you to go into a gentleman's agreement that two people who considered themselves brothers could go to live together. If this is what you show us after 55 years, then those who are saying that we should break Cameroon are right. They are correct. The people of West Cameroon cannot be your slaves. The people of West Cameroon are not, you did not conquer them in war. If this is what you are saying that we should live in, I say simply, no, it will not work. How do you have an army that's supposed to protect children, step out there, beat them, and rape some? It is not heard of in any country. This is the 21st century, and anybody who does that and cannot be willing for his government to pay the price, we will exact it on you. Because you are...
All right, we can't play the entire clip because it's about 11 or 14 minutes, but I guess that reflects your mind, what you said there in the parliament in La République du Cameroon. After that, you walked away when your security became threatened. You left, went over to Nigeria, stayed there for a while, walked back into that same place and made other alterations. Again, we're trying to see what was in your mind for you to have left, come back, go back to parliament, make again statement that made them so uncomfortable, which then led to your finer taken off from that country. What was in your mind, Honorable?
Chris, to you and your listeners, I would just have one thing to say. The freedom of my homeland was on my mind. The decision to return from Nigeria was the most dangerous thing I've ever done in my entire life. that I choose to do it. And the purpose was simple. I told my team members and my family that if we all run away at one go, these guys will take over our land. That someone needed to stand and die, run, go, come back, and say we will start from where we stopped. That's exactly what took me back. That's exactly why I keep talking about the vision for freedom that drives my soul and makes me do the things I do and say the things I say. And sometimes I feel I cannot help myself. That is what was on my mind. We are not their slaves. We will never be their slaves. How do we liberate our people? How do we free our homeland? That is what was on my mind when I went back.
Now, you talk a lot about freedom, very little about independence. And it caused many out there to ask the question, is Honorable Wirba a federalist or an independentist? Can you close that argument once and for all?
There is no argument to close, Chris. Actions speak louder than words. The trouble with the struggle we have been heading is the fact that people believe that words do the work, that much more than actions. It is not true. There's no argument to close. I want to find out from you now myself. Do you believe I put my life at risk doing those things I did? Do you believe?
Take that again, please. Take that again.
I am asking if you believe I put my life, my neck at risk doing all these things I did, running to Nigeria and coming back and trying again. Do you believe I put myself at risk?
Of course, you put yourself at risk just as every other person, as those fighters on the ground putting their lives on the line, everybody putting his life at risk. However, you will recall, Honorable, that...
Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate that part. The level at which the fighters are putting their lives is not even at my level. They are at a very supreme level of sacrifice. I have spoken, I have stood up. I've never held a gun. They are at a very superior level. So you can't even compare what I did to what they are doing for us. They are not comparable. All I'm saying is, a man who stands and takes a risk on his life, and somebody is questioning, he doesn't use a certain word. Where does he belong? That is the politics. Anyone who believes in freedom, anyone who believes in freedom, and that is why we called a meeting in Germany and called for believers, people who believe in the freedom of the Amazonian homeland. You can call freedom independence. You can call it anything you want. Cardinal rules the world is people seek freedom. And you can qualify it with any other word you like. I am a freedom seeker. And that is why I would stand up to challenge anybody who stands in the way of freedom, even if that person is you, even if that person is the various governments you have formed. If they stand on the way of the Amazonian people, I will go for that.
I would like you to establish the fact that you are not just fighting for freedom, but you are fighting for the independence, the restoration of the state of the southern Cameroons, which we now call Amazonia. Nothing else.
Chris,
I hear you, sir.
I am sure we speak and understand English.
Absolutely. Honorable, you know that freedom can be used in many other terms. Freedom in one and indivisible Cameroon. Freedom for an independent southern Cameroon. So I guess that is why Amazonians are a little confused. Some, not all. And I think it is legitimate considering that at the time you made that speech in Parliament, everybody was still talking about a return to federalism, a return to federalism. We're not at this point. At this point, people are trying to draw the line. Is Honorable Wirba a federalist, or he is fighting for nothing but a free and independent southern Cameroons?
I would want to inform you and those people that they should go back and find out who Wirba is. That I started fighting for these things, researching on them, and asking for the free state that we brought into the Union more than 30 years ago. That I am comfortable with. And as we move forward, that's why I'm saying I would not want us to be wasting time talking politics. The independence that the Southern Cameroons enjoyed prior to the fraud that was done upon us. That is what I refer to as the stolen state. That independence was taken away with the fraud that was done in 1961, and it is what we need to correct. We trusted the guys, they turned us into their slaves. We now need to beat them and establish an independent state west of the Mongol. And I've reassured you lots of times. Maybe sometimes people talk a lot and you don't listen. I've reminded everybody that there will be a neighbor to the east of the independent state of Amazonia sooner or later.
Great. I think you made it really clear now. Anybody who still goes out and say Wirba is a federalist, I hope they get it from the horse's own mouth. Now, let's move on to something else. You were in Nigeria when Sisiko and other NERA members were picked up. In fact, you left Nigeria right after that falls because, according to your lieutenants, your security became an issue. During that time in Nigeria, were you having communication with Sisiko, Tarzan Wilfred, and others? Were you?
No. Short answer.
So you had no idea, you were never invited to this NERA 10 meeting?
I told you already in the discussions we are going to have today, it's going to be different from most of the discussions you have. Don't drag me into the politics. Let's talk about liberation.
Honorable, I get you. Don't be worried. We're getting there. Yes. We're just laying the foundation here. Going on. We will get deep into that. So don't be worried. Absolutely. We will get deep into those discussions, and this is just the foundation.
Yes. We're at a very difficult point in this struggle. And my reason for accepting that we hold this discussion is because I have ended up realizing that we are talking a lot and not listening. We are claiming to be doing things in public that are never done in public.
We will get there, Honorable. Don't be worried about that. We will get there. We are getting into the nitty-gritties of everything that you are concerned about. So again, you did not have any communication. You were not having any communication with Sisiko and the rest of the government members. Now, Sisiko came out and said you were vice president XXX. Was he lying?
I don't like you using the word lie, because I wouldn't want to put it on anybody. All I know is that there was no consultation between us about that. And it shocks me that for someone who had been sending people to advise that a government should never be formed because we will be shooting ourselves on the foot, a wrong thing to me is wrong for everybody. So I couldn't be saying that the government concept was wrong and at the same time discussing how to be a president or a vice. I don't do stuff like that. I deal straight. No discussion was held about that. And if someone presumed that what they liked, they were wrong.
I mean, I think this is the first time you are clarifying this, because that insinuation has been made several times. I'm sure you heard it.
Of course, Chris. Of course, it's been made, and I've been trying to draw the line between the mindset of a liberator and a revolutionary with that of a politician. I don't listen to political talk. I don't respond to it. So, but when the opportunity comes and there is some clarity to be made on my name, I have to deal with it straight. Why I'm saying this is because if something like that has to happen between people, there is a discussion. And that discussion to lead to an acceptance.
Correct.
I appreciate the fact that someone thought I could be worthy of something like that. But to mention it without a discussion that comes to a conclusion was really shocking to me. And that is why, you know, sometimes I choose not to be responding to those political issues because they distract me from the focus I want us to be on, from the focus that this vision tells me where we need to be going. And I begin to do those things quietly, consistently, and properly.
Now, you have been in exile for 3 years and
Yes.
counting as of now. And I know also that you were approached to lead the struggle on behalf of Sisiko from exile. Why didn't you choose to take it to then help Ambazonians, redirect Ambazonians in the direction that Wirba thinks the revolution should be going?
Thanks, Chris, for that question. The answer is very simple. I have a clear vision for how people want freedom operate. The proposal to lead was not within the realm of that vision for our freedom. Why am I saying this? Because a political structure had been set to drive the independence and the freedom agenda. And I knew that it could not carry. So I could not be part of that. So I want to be very, very clear about that. I refused it. It doesn't fall within the realm of my vision. And when I was told that, I was very categorical like I am now. Nothing in the structures we can set, we have already set, and take us to freedom. Because they are not revolutionary and liberationary structures. They are political structures. It is like saying that you need a train to drive to a certain destination, and people are offering you a 5-ton truck. You know that definitely you can carry the goods that are necessary, and you will never be able to get to that destination. So I turned it down because it doesn't fall within my vision of what we should be doing to get there.
All right. That leads me to something else that you said in Stuttgart last week. Please listen.
And shut some of those your forums where you have decided that your own freedom will come through the forums and the fora and everything you are forming. If you don't shut them down, you and your children will remain slaves of the Republic forever.
If you don't shut them down, you were here referring to the different groups which have existed from day number one of this struggle. I like to play a second clip, so please take a listen.
Can anybody want to believe that I did all of that? Ran away to Nigeria, went and came back and said, we will begin from where we stopped. That I did all of that in order to come out to the diaspora and compete with internet politicians over a contest about whether who is ahead of what. No liberator does that.
All right. The question is, when you got to the diaspora, Europe, London in particular, did you reach out to these other groups, or did they, any of them, reach out to you to say, Honorable Wirba, thank God you succeeded to escape that damn country? How can we work together? Or did you say, come, let's sit down and talk and let's see what we can do together? The reason that question is legitimate is because many see your rhetoric as condescending to other leaders who kept the struggle running for the 3 years you stayed in London and were just doing your things underground. Did you approach other leaders to see what you could do together?
Chris, I will begin from your use of the word condescending. That is not me. That is why in my first stepping out, I had a theme that we used for the German event, that the blood of every slain Amazonian cries out to us for action. And I was asking the question, are we hearing it? Because if we're hearing it, we'll behave differently, we'll talk differently, we'll act differently. That said, I just want to get back straight away. When I stepped out here, we organized a book launch in London. Every single one of you, including you, Chris, the team members who were supporting me, reached out to you and served an invitation. My hope was that you will all be coming in. That is why during the book launch, I told you guys that my bag is full with 25 years of good research that we could use to move forward. And when I suddenly realized that nobody, including you, Chris, showed up, I then said, okay, then I understand this. Then there has to be something that is not right. So with the mindset of a revolutionary, the mindset of a liberator, with the knowledge of what we need to do to get forward, I then concluded a country can get its freedom only because individuals, people as individuals, believe in their freedom and they are ready to stand up for it. I believe in it and I'm ready to stand up for it. And if I make that call and see nobody, I cannot stop marching. I move on. That is absolutely the reason. Because there was an invitation to everybody, because I presumed everybody was walking in the same direction. When I saw no one, I then came to the conclusion, oh, then maybe I thought people were in a certain place and they were not there. And
Honorable, don't you think that the procedure was a little bit wrong? Because when you move into the diaspora where a struggle is going on and you have to wait to talk to people only after you write your book, I mean, there's something wrong about that. I would think that the first thing for you to have done was getting to London or to Europe would have been, hey, Ntumfon Hebert, hey, Sako, hey, call these guys and say, listen, I succeeded to get here. What can we do together?
Chris, I never mind being wrong because I stand for the truth all the time. I don't mind being wrong. I'm human. So, wrong or not, I have told you I walk within a certain vision from what I see. What power do I have to be calling people to come to me? I served an invitation which was a generous thing, which was something that people would do. But on the contrary, if you had to challenge me with that, I have this to challenge you with. In our culture, the Anglo-Saxon culture that we pride ourselves in from the southern Cameroons, aka Amazonia, we know that when someone comes in the rain and in the cold, those who were sitting in a warm room, they run to that person to say, are you warm enough? Where are you coming from? If we have forgotten it, that I needed to reach out here and start calling, I'm calling them to come do what? I had nothing to offer. I had only brought myself to safety. So I had no reason.
Honorable, how can you say you had nothing to offer? You are a leader. You essentially started this.
If I may be excused, sir, I used the only excuse that I could have had to had everybody to be able to whisper. Why am I saying this? Because you, like everybody else, has taken it that the discussions on the struggle will take place in the open air. That is not how it happens. When there is a private meeting, when someone is doing a private thing and calls somebody in, and that person comes, that is when a rapport is created. That's when people can know something different. But to say that I should arrive here and start calling people, calling them to come and do what?
I will
There was no reason.
I will let the audience judge that, but I will say in my own in my own opinion, I think if you got to
As a politically savvy person, as a revolutionary, it is not done. Because when you are going to war, as it is in all our cultures, you don't need a horn. If you, like
well,
the
but then
race of
how
the
did you
Amazonian-
expect people to come
Yes.
to rally around you if they did not know Wirba was somewhere?
No, come on. How did you not know I was in London and an invitation was sent to you?
I knew you were in
Did you
London
come?
when you talked
you
about
come?
your book. I didn't know when Wirba get to London, found time to write a book. I mean, it takes time to write. It takes at least 6 months to sit down and write a good book. So you were probably
Good.
in London for 6 to 1 year before anybody
Good.
knew Honorable Wirba was in London. But again, you expect that having started this, escalated this at home, then you have opportunity
That is
to
your
leave
concept, please.
leave to the
That is-
diaspora.
that is your
You will get.
concept. And
Let,
that is
let,
why
let
I'm
me put a
warning
point so
that
you can
if
get
we
it.
keep driving in this direction. If we keep driving in this direction, we go nowhere. Do you
The
realize
reason,
amount of energy we are wasting?
the reason, Honorable,
you
is
realize the
that
amount
you
of
seem
energy
to
we are
throw a
wasting?
lot of
I
blame.
came here so that we talk about how to take this movement forward.
We
Because
are definitely
facing a
getting
crucial
there.
moment
We
in
are
the
definitely
forefront.
definitely
And I
getting
come so
there.
that we talk
But you
about
have
it.
done.
You are
But you have
dragging
done.
me into politics and what I should have done and what I did not do.
The
This
reason,
does not help. going forward.
Honorable, this is the
Can
reason
we
why
go
that is
one
legitimate. Honorable, that is
Yes.
legitimate because you've thrown out a
I
lot of
agree,
blame
sir.
game.
Remember that
A
everything
lot of
can
blame
be
game. And that is
legitimate
why I'm
depending on the side you
asking
are
some of these
looking
questions. So, but let's
at.
move
I
on.
understand, sir.
Yeah,
I
let's move.
understand.
Let's move on. Now,
Let's move on, sir.
you talked about government, any other group,
Yeah.
in a very derogatory manner. You refer to it as the internet government, the internet groups. Even Amazonians are all internet Amazonians. The same people you want to rally around you to prosecute this struggle. How come you do not see one thing? I mean, just one thing that these other groups have done. Just imagine if they had not held the baton for the 3 years you were in London, which struggle will you be addressing today?
Thank you very much, Chris. I have a question for you.
But
What
why
is
not
your
answer my own then
criteria for
before?
assessing
Why
what
not answer
anybody
my
is doing
question
for
then
struggle?
before yours?
No, sir. What is your criteria? I will answer it when you answer it. What is your criteria? No, sir. What is your criteria? Is it writing on Facebook? Is it doing it on WhatsApp? What is your criteria for assessing what who is doing? And that is the
The
error we are on.
criteria. Let me answer you then. Let me answer
Yes.
you. The
What's your
criteria is in assessing what is being done on ground zero. And you know that it is these same groups that you criticize, that you speak disparagingly about, who are gathering people on a weekly, monthly basis for 5.5 years to put weapons into the hands of those guys on the ground. The least we expected of Honorable Wirba was to say, you guys have made some mistakes, but you tried. You are still holding the struggle. You never, no word of compliment from Honorable Wirba.
I'm sorry, the line is breaking.
Yes, go ahead.
Chris, I have this to put to you. Yes, which is straight. I have this to put to you. The purpose of doing a liberation struggle is to overcome the oppressor. That is the purpose. And I want to remind you and every listener and every Amazonian that remember, a struggle is a thankless job. The quest for independence is a thankless job. And while we are working at it, we should move away from the political, where there is this desire to be praised and appreciated. I have appreciated a lot of what has been going on. I have appreciated a lot of it.
Well, no, but I
have
mean,
been
you speak
thankful
in London, you spoke
people
in
who are
Germany.
standing up.
Nobody
There
heard a
are
word of
the boys who
appreciation
are
from
standing
you.
and giving their lives. I've been thankful in every way I have been. Listen, please. I thought you raised an issue and you want an answer.
Yeah, go on.
Good. So I have been. The comments I have been making are simply that with the mindset of a revolutionary. That is why I did the analysis and I showed us the efforts we have made. They are huge, but we are only at 10 to 12%. Do we realize that? And we need to do something different in order to take this forward. And that different thing is equal work that we are now sometimes afraid of, and we want to be lauding what we have done so that, we begin to appraise ourselves and talk about what we have done when there is so much more we need to do. Let me tell you, you have used the word disparaging twice. I do not disparage the efforts of others. But if I see that people who are talking in the name of the very people for whom we are being killed are taking them in directions or leading them in directions that may not bring a final good result, I would stand up for it. I would talk about it. I would condemn it. That's exactly what I am trying to say. Because if we go on in this direction that you're trying to describe, where we do a little thing and then we are sitting and praising ourselves, I am telling you, Chris, we are a long way off to arriving where we want to go to. Ask you what the purpose of the struggle is. Is it just to keep doing it? Is it just to create the impression that we are working? It is to raise it to a level where the oppressor can be on the back foot. And it is not in exactly what we are doing now. Something needs to change. And there are people who can help with that change. And that is what I came here for us to talk about. There is a different way of doing things.
There are absolutely many ways of doing things, and we are going to weigh into your own way, the revolutionary committees. However, Honorable,
Yes, Chris.
Many people see what you are doing, what you are saying as driving people away and not bringing people together. That each time you hold the microphone, you are condemning. You have not made any complimentary statements to the work that Sako did for the past 4 years, none that Akwanga did for the past 4 years. All these other groups that are on the ground. We have not heard you mention any of them. I'm listening.
Hello? Yeah, I didn't get the last part. The line was breaking.
No, I'm saying that nobody has heard you appreciate any of these leaders for all the time you've been in the diaspora. That's just what they want. And that is what makes you look like a leader that wants to build.
Chris, as I told you, I am not of the political mindset. I transform from the politician to the revolutionary when I choose to go up against La République the way you just described at the beginning of this. Therefore, with that mindset, I am aware of one thing. We need to do things differently. There has been a lot of effort put in there. And if we want to keep on that political track, you will only be asking the question, why are we not appreciating why we should be asking the question, why are we not making progress? Because we are not making the progress we should because we are keeping too close to the political. As a matter of fact, my commendation, my anger had been at the whole fact that are we aware of what is going on with our people back home, please? Are we conscious of it? Do we know the enormity of the weight of what the people are under? It is very difficult. And if me sitting here, if my first consciousness is not to be responding to the pain of those people and to what they are undergoing and feeling for them and trying to look for what can bring relief in relation to how the struggle goes, then I'm not being productive. So to cut your question short, I have not lacked appreciation for the efforts others have put. I have not lacked appreciation for it. But if I were to realize that even in that great effort they are making, there is a lot they could also be damaging with their actions and with their words, I go for those words. I will go for them. And that is why I'm saying, please, the Amazonian people, we have a long way to go to get freedom. And I don't want us giving ourselves giving ourselves the opportunity to be doing self-praise when there is very little working in favor of the struggle succeeding. That is why the mindset of the revolutionary is different from that of a politician. That is why I am not doing this. Yes, I am not doing this, Chris. Listen, I'm not doing this. A political mind would be saying things that people like, so that they begin to appreciate them.
But a
so
political mind, honorable, you are a politician. Yes, you are a politician, listen, and you have been campaigning for so many years while you were in parliament. You are a politician. You campaigned so many years while in parliament. A politician still needs to appreciate what the constituent is doing.
Yes. Listen, that is why I told you that I graduated from that before I began this. And if the people we are working with who are fighting for the struggle do not graduate from the political mindset, we will not be able to take the struggle where it needs to go. That is why, while I work and the efforts I make, you will not know them when I do them. Why? Because I don't want to put them in the market, because that's what the politician will do because he wants. I will not do them. The story of this struggle might be long after a lot of us would have been there, and you will be shocked at what many people did and never said.
All right, let me take you back to Germany, Stuttgart, with this audio. Please listen to it.
If you do something called government, once you add the word GOV to anything, you have pronounced corruption. You have brought in adventurers. Because a liberation struggle recruits fighters, warriors, brave men and women who can stand and die.
Okay. Again, that was in Stuttgart. I'd like you also to listen to this other footage, Steve from Stuttgart in Germany. Take a listen.
Assure the international community that Amazonia is better than the one they have come in contact with on Facebook. Amazonia is better than that.
All right, Honorable, if I may ask you, have you seen one thing that the government, as we call it, or any other groups they have done right through this struggle since they were created? Have you seen one thing they've done right?
I have.
I'm sorry, I didn't get you.
Chris. I have, of course.
What have you seen?
Of course, it is the one thing I mentioned when we were out at the book launch, that the first key thing and the commendable thing for which I appreciate the diaspora and its leadership as taking our struggle to a very popular level around the world. That is what had been missing from the struggle. That is what has been missing from the days from when people, the fighters of old, the Mokongs and the rest of them who were contesting the Ahidjo government. That was the biggest thing that happened to us. To have taken it international, that was the biggest achievement. And now we are being discussed in the right corridors in certain places as a result. All right? It's a big achievement.
But Honorable, I think that would be disingenuous to attribute the work of diplomacy that we've attained today to those who fought 30 years ago. I think that is being disingeneous. The different groups, the interim government in particular, we took the struggle to the diplomatic corridors in the USA, in Europe, in London, where you are. In fact, the only thing you did was come out and say that all these demonstrations are not going to take us anywhere. Come on, what did you think ambassadors in the diaspora should be doing?
Chris, exactly. That's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a good question. What are we supposed to be doing to make this struggle work? I saw all of that.
You say demonstrations are not part of it?
Taking us that direction. Yes. There is something we need doing, Chris, which we are not doing yet.
What is it?
It is organizing the struggle.
But what do you mean by organizing the struggle? The struggle has the LGA by LGA. The struggle has county by county. The struggle has region by region, in country by country.
I know.
And who were going to get to this with your revolutionary committees? Listen to what you said, Honorable.
I agree.
Please, 1 minute. Listen to this. Listen to this. This is what you said.
Chris, we have set up those structures.
This is what you said.
Yes, sir.
The MPs in the House of Commons and the House of Lords in the UK, just to tell our story. Because there is one presumption we have had out here in the diaspora that when we go and demonstrate, demonstrations have their place in a struggle. When we go and demonstrate in Berlin, in Stuttgart, the whole of the German government have now known that we have a problem, so they will solve it. It's not true. They have their own problems. They have their own issues to handle. So I went around making sure I was telling the story to the right people. And believe you me, you would not believe the level of ignorance.
So, Honorable, it appears you are saying that the doors, every door you knocked, the people told you, we don't see these Ambazonians, we don't see these Southern Cameroonians, and you thought we were all on the street. Just are you trying to get Ambazonians listening to you now to believe that all their demonstrations in Washington, D.C., in front of the Parliament House in London, in front of the House of Commons and stuff, meant nothing? What provoked what made the House of Commons in London to put out letters asking Britain to intervene in the struggle in Ambazonia? Is it not because of those demonstrations?
You heard my statement that they have their place, Chris. You heard my statement. I said they have their place. There is much more work we need to be doing. The concept I'm trying to bring in here is the fact that the backroom work we need to be doing. Remember, you were trying to get me corrected from the beginning of the struggle that there's a difference between asking for freedom and asking for independence. Do you fully understand what it takes when you want that? Do you fully understand? If you fully understand it, then there is a different way we need to be doing this stuff, because independence can never be given. It can never be negotiated. You always take it by breaking the bones of your enemy. And if we understand that, and we have done the things we have done for 5 years, if we do a self-assessment, where do we find ourselves? So what I'm talking about here is the fact. It is not denigrating the fact that demonstrations should take place. Are we just doing it for the sake of the demonstration? No. We are doing it to achieve a certain goal. If that goal is independence, then we should be ready to start doing the backroom work. that takes people, that can push us to that direction. And I am saying that my sitting here to hold this discussion with you is not to litigate the past. It is to be talking about what we need to be doing in order to get this right.
All right, let's talk about the present. You talked about forming revolutionary committees as the best thing that can replace all these other groups. The best
Don't
way
use
to
the word
prosecute
replace.
the revolution, the struggle. Or am I wrong?
Yes.
Am I wrong?
No, when you use the word replace, you are not getting it right. Because that is where you now make people who have set up the various groups will be feeling threatened. What I'm saying is simple.
But you condemn them by saying they are not doing the right
Yes,
thing.
yes.
So if you are now coming
Yes,
up with
the
something, you are
structures we
saying
have set,
they should not be there.
Chris, the structures you say that have been set from county to county, from all the rest of them, I want to tell you they are political structures.
Explain
It is
that.
like us. Yes, let me explain that. It's very simple. They are political structures because if you do the county to county, you give yourself 13 counties. So you limit your operational capacity. If you go for the LGA by LGA, you limit yourself to the council areas, which will be maximum in the southern Cameroons, 78 to 80. You limit your capacity. What we are talking about here is, it is like Amazonian needs to build a 100-story building in Boya. And we have chosen,
we're going to
Yes,
get there.
please,
I would like
please,
us
please,
instead to start
please.
with
No, let
your
me
committees.
clarify.
I would like you to
please.
start with your committees
No.
by, please. I'd like you to start with your
Please.
committees. Give us a little enlightenment as to what these committees are and why you think they are different from current structures.
When you raise issues, it is easier to correlate them so that people can understand easily how it is that what we are doing might not take us to where we want to go. Let me just give you this example. When you begin, if you were to go for revolutionary committees for the liberation of the Amazonian homeland, what happens is once you start setting them, because I already said in Germany that the setting up of the committees are the various things I saw in countries that have done this whole process we are trying to do today. They made the effort. They set them up. Family units became liberation committees. Church organizations, they set them up. They set them all over so that instead of having 13 units running your county to counties, if we all began setting up those committees that can set the foundation for this struggle, please, I can guarantee you, we could end up with 3,000 of them. And you don't know what energy and funds those committees can pull. So that we build something. That is the foundation I'm talking about. We need to build a foundation on which the struggle can rest. And if we have to do that, it is a whole nation we are building. It has to be so big that it can contain everything and all of us. And once you are building it from that direction and doing it as a people, you will find out that the foundation will be so solid that leaders may not matter. Whether leaders come and go, that foundation will keep holding them, and the struggle for liberation will continue until the homeland is free. That is all I'm trying to
You started this. I remember.
We need to move our mindset to that direction. Do something for the common good rather than something for the limited groups that we are now, we are now holding on to. You see the reason I was saying about the formation of the various groupings and the various governments. It is because it becomes so divisive. People break up into little groups and start defending those groups with the ferocity that we need instead to be defending the homeland. So the suggestion is straightforward and simple. People who believe in freedom, and I want to tell you, Chris, it cannot be everybody. Those who believe in freedom can work to set the foundation for that freedom movement. And it can be found in those liberation committees that people who have gone through this experience in other countries did before us. And that is what I would be humbly suggesting that we start thinking about.
Honorable, county,
Yes,
I mean LGA by LGA, county
Yes.
by county,
Yes.
regions by region, or country by country.
My country.
These are the grassroots approach that this interim government put in place to get every Amazonian of every heritage background to find his or herself engaged in the struggle, so that Honorable Wirba didn't have to leave Jakiri and go to Santa to militate in the struggle from there. Chris Anu didn't have to leave the BLM, go to Mamfe to militate from there. It was a way of bringing everybody in, and again, grassroots was the idea. Now you are talking about little communes or committees. You started with Revolutionary Council. Remember the first time you spoke on this, you suggested Revolutionary Council, a gigantic group in that matter.
There were
Now
always
it's
committees.
Revolutionary Committee. How?
It's the same concept.
Okay. How can the committees be more effective than saying, let's go with our counties, let's go through our LGAs, let's go through our countries, USA, Spain, Italy. How effective can that be?
Very effective, Chris, if we can have the courage to do it.
Well, explain to
I have
us.
told you. Yes, one, as I've explained to you, when you limit it to counties, you have 13 groups that will be doing operations. So the concept of making it grassroots doesn't work there, because you have set it from the top. You have not set it from the bottom.
I mean, the county,
From the
the
bottom, you have
LGA
to
is the
keep the
last
foundation.
unit in our setup. The LGA is the last. How can you say from the top, Honorable?
And that is what I'm saying. It is a political, administrative thing.
So
Does it work, Chris? It doesn't.
how then are committees not political groups? Because at the end of it, you still have to have a leader on top of the committees who
Good.
executes and prosecutes the struggle.
Absolutely. That is why I am talking about setting the foundation. Because when you set that foundation through that way, one, you gather people together. They start talking about the liberation of their homeland. They start talking about committees that are aiming for a certain thing. When you start gathering them and people begin to see the sense in that kind of communal work from the ground, then you build it from the ground upwards. And it's very easy. It is easier that way than to set
There are
something
still
up from the top
political
and then
groups.
send it to the people down there.
And there are
So that's what
still
I'm
political
saying.
groupings,
And that's why
Honorable,
I'm
and at
saying
the
that
top
the
of it, there
mindset-
is still the leader. There is still the leader at the top of it, isn't it?
Yes.
So why
Of
is that
course, and it's
different
everything
from the
that-
counties, from the LGAs, from the government?
Sure. Chris, I am saying, with all that you have said, with all of what is there for us to see and which you are describing, the question is it working towards liberation? It has a lot of limitations. So rather than make this look like an argument, I want it to be, a clear thing that I gave you an example. Just take, for example, that you people in the United States, you had 50 separate committees in each state. And then in the states, the counties had separate committees talking about the same thing. Because this divisiveness is the problem we have, where we set up different things at different angles, and they are talking about different objectives with different leaders. So finally we start running in different directions rather than in one, because we should be looking for the difficult work of creating what can gain traction, bring your people from the
Honorable,
grassroots together.
Honorable,
and
I
get
think
them
you are
driving in one
misrepresenting.
direction.
Honorable, I think you are misrepresenting what I have seen in the interim government and in other groups. You don't have these other leaders
not.
that you refer to.
I am not.
At the hem, there is
I am
one
not.
leader. In the bottom, you have the counties, you have the LGAs, and in fact, under the government structure, they manage their funds, they raise their funds, and they manage their funds, and they manage their fighters on the ground. The system you are setting up essentially says we'll bring these committees together, and all they have to do is raise money, send it to the super leader who is on top. The super leader who is on top decides what that money does, instead of allowing the LGAs and the counties decide what their money does.
Chris, you are falsifying my words in front of me.
All right, correct me, sir.
Yeah, that is not true. What I'm simply saying is, one, if we have the courage to face our struggle as it is, we would first of all accept that what we are doing this far for 5 is not carrying us fast enough towards the destination of Boya. Can you agree with me on that?
No, I can't agree with that. I can't agree with that.
All right.
Of course
if
not.
If already from your level, you believe that we can succeed doing these same things we have been doing for 5 years, then why are we talking?
I think, Honorable, we can make the system better, and the only way making the system better is to show transparency, accountability in the things that we do. Because you will agree with me, what matters in what every one of us does in the diaspora is raise funds. That's what the diaspora is all about, raise money.
Good.
But when people cannot see accountability for their funds, transparency in the use of those funds, people will not give. So if you say committees raise money there, committees raise money there, you are still trying to concentrate this in the hands of some super leader who has then to tell the committees what their money is going to be used for.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. On the contrary, when you spread it out and the committees are the ones working to raise the funds.
Correct. I agree with you.
Yes. Working to raise the funds. The one thing that you want to avoid there is concentrating the funds in one area, in one person's hands, in one particular place, where they can be lost, where the corruption can come in, where a lot of things can come in. And by the way, if you set committees for liberation and it is beginning to bring people together, Chris, why I'm even suggesting this is because I'm looking at the divisiveness that all we have done in the last 5 years have created. You will agree with me. There's a lot of division. I'm looking at the divisiveness, and I'm saying now that everybody is sticking to their own thing, who is going to be part of what the other is in order to make it work? Because the pull and push needs to be absolutely in one direction if we hope to get what we want.
Honorable, I hear you, but I see a big problem. I hear you, but I see a big problem. So the committees raise the money.
Yes.
They put it in one pool. Now we have 13 counties, and there are fighters in all of those counties. How then does somebody or some committee sit and decide where the money from the committees go to? In the present situation, we have the counties who are raising money for their LGAs and directing it to their LGAs. Essentially, every county is taking care of herself. But in your committees, somebody will have to sit up there and decide where the money from the committees is going to.
No.
So how do you decide where the money goes to?
I will now refer you to what we're talking about, the back room where revolutionary issues are worked on. The simple process is when you set committees and those committees are raising funds and holding them, and in the nation where they are gathering and pulling it together, you now begin, as the committees are growing, begin to look for people who can handle your funds at international level, at various levels. And you are pulling.
Honorable, the problem is not about handling funds. The problem is not about handling the funds. The problem is how do you deploy those funds to the ground and to who? Because you have 13 counties that are fighting.
Exactly. And that is what we do not need. What we need is a comprehensive fighting force for the Amazonian struggle rather than trying to identify them as counties. Now, when you do that pool and you have enough to start beating up a national comprehensive force that pushes forward, It is far more easier handling that. And the rest of what needs to now be discussed is the error we have all been making, thinking that all of these things we just need to come and put them there and say, this is where this will go, this is the person who will do this. That is not how those things work. Because we need to be careful how we put out some of these things in public. Because we have done this business in public for over 5 years now. And I can tell you the results are what we are seeing. And part of it, this divisiveness, this confusion, the need for something to happen, something different, Chris. And I'm saying this because I know that it is very difficult.
Honorable,
to shift the mindset, something new is always difficult. So
Honorable,
if we cannot shift from what we have been doing for the last 5 years, my brother, I am afraid we might not be able to get to where we want as quickly as we all desire.
Honorable people, some
Yes.
people, and I know many of them listen to you coming up with these committees, which are not in any way much different from the structures that we already have in place. The kind of thing you are being opportunistic, the kind of thing you are being opportunistic in trying to come up with something a little bit different to get back into the limelight. Let me ask you this question. Why can't you invite Ayaba, invite Iya Marianta, invite Akwanga, invite Bo Herbert and say, hey, we got these structures that are existing on the ground. Why I like us to sit together and see how we can refine it instead of trying to launch some committees that really end up in the hands of one strong man.
Chris, I am not launching.
But, I mean, you are forming them. You are forming them from start.
I'm not launching anything. In the process of a vision for something, you can see clearly where a certain thing can take you to. Where do you think I have the power to be inviting these people? And there's one thing I want to correct. I do not, Chris, need the limelight. I don't need it. That's why I stay quiet. I don't need it, Chris. I don't need the limelight. My duty as a revolutionary and as someone who can see clearly where his country's revolution and freedom movement towards independence can fail is to tell that country the truth. And I've been telling my truth all along. And whether you take it or not will no longer be my problem.
The problem with the way
we all collectively fail.
The problem with the way you do it, the problem with the way you do it is that you throw stones. You throw stones instead of gathering these people and say, hey, we need to sit down and talk. You don't do it. You throw stones at them.
You accuse me of throwing stones?
Yeah, I mean, it's a factual statement. I have played some of your clips here, Honorable. Let me play this. Please listen to this.
That is not stone throwing. That is fact stating.
Please listen. Please listen to this. Listen to this.
It is stating facts, not throwing stones.
Want to believe that
I'm stating facts.
All of that. Ran away to Nigeria, went and came back and said, we will begin from where we stopped. That I did all of that in order to come out to the diaspora and compete with internet politicians over a contest about
internet politician, Honorable Wirba. That is the terminology you use, and that is why I say you are throwing stones instead of an approach that brings them closer to you for you to sit down, have a discussion with.
Chris, listen. I am not throwing stones. It's a statement of fact. Why? Because lots of things have been said towards my person. I never respond to them because I consider them to be political issues, so I don't talk about them. But when I have a chance to make a statement and I'm stating a fact, I had done the real crude politics of the third world at home. And it is only when I realized that it can never take us who dream of a free homeland anywhere that I change direction. And if today I am commenting about these things, Chris, it is because I'm seeing us facing a danger of failing. That's why I'm stating these facts very, very clear. we are facing a danger of failing in this process.
That is in the
And if
eyes of the
you
beholder,
and
and you are the
me,
beholder here,
and if
Honorable.
someone
I
like
think
you,
there are things we
someone like
can
you is
improve
not
on,
seeing that,
but that we are failing,
so
I think people would say that is being opportunistic. There are areas we can improve
No.
upon.
No.
But let me ask
No.
you, Honorable, let
We
me
are
ask you,
facing- Yes.
let
Yes,
me,
sir.
if I may ask you, who is the leader of the revolutionary committees? Because there has to be a leader on top who is guiding, leading the people, the committees, the revolution, the struggle.
If you want to know what happens when you begin that freedom movement, you already have a whole set of leaders. So if you build all the committees and they were working and doing the funding that you need, how many leaders that you now want? Choose one now, Chris. We have a lot of them.
That is perfect.
What we need
Exactly
is
where I
people
am heading to.
contributing.
This is the point.
Yes.
This is the point. The point is, again,
Yes.
you have so many leaders out there already. You have ARC, for example, with so many leaders
Yes.
in there. Why can't we not sit down with the ARC guys and say, hey guys, we can actually do this thing in a better way. I want to come in. Let's sit down and discuss and do this thing in a better way. But you just want to create another group that comes in, and probably the divisions just
Mistake
continue.
Number one. No. Mistake number one, not another group. That's the last thing. That is why when they are talking about leadership in this struggle, the last person you have ever heard that word from is Wirba. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because the struggle is a very big thing, Chris. And sometimes when you talk, I get the impression that maybe you don't fully understand how big this thing is. It is bigger than all of us. It
Absolutely.
is bigger than every single one of us. Yes, it's very big. And when you begin to talk of it and look in terms of where somebody will be at the end of the road, it is incorrect.
It is bigger than
incorrect.
all of us, Honorable. The problem in
Yes.
the solutions, the vision you are outlining is that it's just another thing that Wirba wants to do. Just another thing. Another thing.
And not what?
At the moment,
And
at
not
the
what?
moment when you should think
And not
that
what?
we come together and sit down as a team and say, hey, we can actually revamp this government and have some better structures and do things in a
No,
more
Chris.
effective, efficient way.
No,
Instead
Chris,
of
it-
trying to
it-
carve out something around
No.
you and call it revolutionary
No, Chris.
committees.
No, Chris, I am not doing it around me. I'm doing it around the struggle. That is what can hold the struggle as a foundation and take it forward. It is not around me. In fact, I'm trying to, as much as possible, to stay away from this. It is not around me. That's why I am suggesting that it is like setting a foundation, Chris. It's like setting a foundation for something. It's like
All
setting
right.
a foundation for a being. You are more worried about who will be a leader than more worried about how do we get the masses in to be contributing to
No, we're talking about getting the masses in. I do not think your revolutionary committees will bring us the masses, Honorable, because, for example, you come here
That's your
in
thinking.
Texas. Now, listen to
That's
this.
what they're thinking.
You
because
come
are still
here.
in the political mindset.
You come
You are
here
still in
in
the
Texas,
political.
for example.
You
No,
don't
listen.
want
You
to
come
move.
here to
Sorry, sir.
Texas. You come here to Texas,
Yes.
for example, and you said
Yep.
a 5-man committee in Houston. You have a 15-man committee in San Antonio. You have a 17-man committee in Austin. You have another 20-man committee in Dallas. Come on. We have 13 counties. 13 countries of your 17, 25, or 10 committee members. Which county do they represent?
You stand corrected. That is the problem you have, because we do not need things that represent the smaller unit. We need something that represents the move for freedom in Amazonia. We need something bigger, something that can gather people. And that is why we are talking about believers, Chris. Remember, not everybody who talks every day about this struggle believes in it. Do you realize
Yeah,
that?
right.
Not everybody. Yeah, they don't believe. When it is a believer, they give their all. And once you start putting believers together and they are giving their all, we can go very far, very, very far. Some of the things we even need to be talking about are not things that we should be airing, but you will know something. In every country that has gotten its freedom, it is always through this hard way. And organizing those little units of believers is usually the beginning of their success. And we need to be pulling those believers together.
I'd like you to take, please just take a moment. Let's have a short break here, a very short break. We'll come back. When we come back, I will take you to the refugee camp where you presented some images of the work that you have done with the refugees. So please stay put there.
The stories of your nation, and you in the diaspora think that by the time you would have formed the 900th government, you will go and get freedom. It's a lie. It's a lie. These are the stories of your nation, and you in the diaspora think that by the time you would have formed the 900th government, you will go and get freedom. It's a lie. It's a lie. These are the
Honorable, that was you in the Stuttgart.
You in the diaspora think that by the time you would have formed.
That was in the Stuttgart, and you were in that clip referring to the work that you have done, the millions, and thousands of dollars that you said you have spent with Amazonian refugees. And I think you actually mentioned you spend around 30 million CFA. 30 million
30
CFA with the on the refugees. And you appeared to be sending the message that that is the work that no other person is doing. I do not know whether you see the outreaches that this interim government, I mean the last one is only as less than a week ago. Do you see the outreaches that this interim government carries out in the refugee camps, Honorable?
Chris? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you, Honorable. I'm asking whether you've...
All right.
Do you see the outreaches that this interim government carries out there in the refugee camps?
I do. I follow up. You know, charity is my bent, so I do a lot. You know, out there, I follow up a lot on what is happening down there on the ground, and you know, especially the state of those children and the women. I do follow up. Yes.
So it was a little concerning to me that you kind of sent the message that taking care of the refugees is something that all of your organization is exclusively doing. That was a message you sent in Stuttgart.
That's not true. That's
Well,
not
maybe
true.
you need to go listen to what we
that's not
said.
true. No, I was telling you people, this is what we are doing. This is the effort towards these children. All right. Does that stop anyone else doing anything? No. A lot of work has been going on there. A lot of people have been intervening. And without that, they are in a terrible, terrible condition, Chris. So I don't want us sitting here and talking as if we are comparing things or competing between one thing and another. No, that is not it. Because as I told you, we should be discussing here what can help us move forward, what can help this
Well,
struggle do better.
these are some of the things
That's the
that
kind
get
of
us to move forward. Because, for instance, if I may ask you,
Yeah.
if you spend
Yes.
$100 million or $50 million on refugees and they are still in Nigeria and you don't have arms in the hands of those fighters on ground zero, would that give us independence? If we can take care of every refugee, make sure they have all that they need, and we do not focus on the ground,
I don't know where
would we have independence?
Where that question is coming from. No, I don't know where that question is coming from. If you listen to me well,
It's coming from the point where you suggest that the rest of the groups in the diaspora, they reject refugees, they don't take care of the refugees.
Not at all. That is your interpretation. It is your choice of words, not mine. So what I'm simply saying is there is work we need to be doing. And if you are referring to issues beyond refugees, beyond what we can do to prisoners, and you want us to be saying else about what needs to be done for fighting to be held up, and you want us to be discussing it here, then I'm saying you are missing the point.
No, I don't think I'm missing the point. I don't think I'm missing the point to ask which is more important, saving ground zero or saving refugees.
The backbone of every struggle is going for the oppressor.
Correct.
That is the backbone.
Correct.
Good. So, and if you think that going for your oppressor means come and discuss here where we are about what you need to do or what you are put as a disposition in relation to that.
Come on, Honorable, you brought this up. I'm only asking the question based on what you discussed in Stuttgart, Germany.
Of course, because I do not discuss any other thing in public, Chris.
So it's not wrong to do a follow-up here then, isn't it?
Follow up what? It is the same
follow up on your discussion in Stuttgart.
Yes, we can talk about refugees. We can talk about what is happening to, the rest of the people who are suffering. When it comes to what needs to be done and what is going in that other direction, that is the backroom work. That is the difficulty I'm saying that we are having, knowing what we take public and what we do in private. Things like that you discuss there, they expose you more. They take you out and even give your enemy the first
Honorable,
what
you are true, you are correct, no doubt about that. But again, this is a follow-up to what you brought out in Stuttgart. Nothing new about this. But let's go to the Swiss talks. Let's go to the Swiss talks.
Yes.
This is what you said.
Yep.
The Swiss process. I have had 4 official meetings with HG in the past 2 years. I had a 5th in a private capacity. And I want to tell you, I went through all those meetings, putting them to task, going through the motions, because I know how peace processes work. I have never participated in any, but I have learned, I have met people, I have gone to places where peace processes were conducted, and I know how they are done. And when I met them, I asked for the basics that makes the foundation for a peace process to stand. I found none. The Swiss process. I have had 4 official meetings with HG in the past 2 years. I had a fifth in a private capacity. And I want to tell you, I went through all those meetings, putting them to task, going through the motions, because I know how peace processes work. I have never participated in any, but I have learned, I have met people, I have gone to places where peace processes were conducted, and I know how they are done. And when I met them, I asked for the basics that makes the foundation for a peace process to stand. I found none.
You found none
Yes.
that could help.
Yep.
Honorable, if we may ask, what exactly were you looking for from HD or in the Swiss process that you didn't find? Talking to HD 4 good occasions.
Yeah, we had those series of meetings, Chris, and I would like to let our people know that sometimes people can create a myth around something that is not really there, because we were desperate and we wanted maybe something to happen so that some peace process could begin. It did not also mean that anything could be served us. So when I went into the series of meetings, the regular foundations on which peace is sought is that there has to be goodwill between the two parties. And the person who has the power and the might of state, who is the head of state of La République du Cameroon and his government, who are killing our people, they had not committed to that process. And once you find out that the person with whom you are battling is not committed to the process, there is no process at all. So I found out that HD was working in reverse, trying to get us together, trying to get us ready with the hope that someday maybe the people of La République du Cameroun would accept to sit down with us. And that was very, very annoying. It was very unfortunate, because I then ended up discovering that the gradual processes they needed to take, they had not taken. And they were just looking for a way to pull us into this, us to sit around the table, telling us every day how, we can negotiate this way or that way, whereas the person killing us and exterminating our people had not committed to it. And there is no peace process until that killer commits. If they do not commit, then we are wasting our time, we are wasting our energy, and we begin to dream for nothing.
But at the same time, Honorable, you stated that one of the things you found out there wrong with HD was they are trying to rush the process.
Yes.
But before you and me, they have been on this process for 2 years and counting, going to 3 years. And as from your own mouth, they have not as much as get La République committed. So
no.
Why do you think they are rushing when they have not even been able to bring La République to table?
Exactly. That's why I'm saying they started on reverse, Chris. They should have started with their friend, La République, because they hold the power. They are the ones killing our. We're only defending and trying to hold on. All right? We're only fighting back. They're the ones killing our people. So if there is to be a peace process, it cannot be decided by us or by HD. It will be decided by the killer. And when that person commits, then you can be sure that if they are now gathering us, they are gathering us with the person who is problem has this, that, okay, I will try now, rather than use the force of arms, I will talk this problem through. I saw HG rushing because they rushed to be inviting us when they ought to have been working with the person who was killing our people. That was their rush. And then I found them. They did not take their time to do the groundwork. Let me give you an example of how a good peace process would work, like the one in our own homeland. One, the peacemakers themselves ought to take a period of time which cannot be less than 2 to 3 months to go throughout the territory where the burnings, the mayhem, the killings, the mass killings have been done, and talk to family members, meet members of civil society, meet all sorts of people, and gather information from them. So that by the time they are coming to sit down on the table to talk about the process, they have the background from those people who were hurt, the people who are hurting. Those are the people who helped in the peace process. There was no time for that. There was no time for that.
So if I may ask you,
yes, please.
If I may ask you, in the place of the Swiss and HD, what would you suggest? Are you suggesting that we should walk off the table from the Swiss and the HD? Is that your position?
My position is simple. They are not offering what can help our people. So why waste time on it?
So essentially you are saying the Germans who endorse them, the Canadians who pay the bills, the British, the Americans, they got it all wrong by endorsing HD.
Let's not just look at the money. We should look at how the process started. HD itself, remember, they are an NGO, an international organization that is running peace processes in certain countries. Are you aware of that?
I am very much aware of that.
This kind of work is their business.
Correct.
Therefore, yes, we ourselves have to be conscious of what is it we need in a peace process, and have we pushed the oppressor enough to a level where they can commit to a peace process? All right, if we look at those dynamics and we realize that we are not yet there, there will be time for peace processes to hold, Chris, and when that time comes, it will be very easy for those things to be done, because there is no peace process without the commitment of a government that is killing our people. And up to this moment we are talking, they are not ready to hear anything about it. They are not ready to commit. So it is winding our time and making us hope for something that is not there. In fact, in the last private meeting I held with HD, I told them that in our culture, the last thing you can do to a hungry man and his family is to point to a hill and tell him that there is a barn up there with grain in it when there is nothing. And that's the kind of thing they were showing us. Because the grain in that barn should have been HD coming to us and saying, there is now a commitment from the government to talk with you and get the peace process on the going. They cannot be pulling us together to prepare for a peace process that does not exist, with the hope that someone will do it, with the hope that the government will reach a stage where they will act on it. It is wrong. It is morally wrong for them to do that to us. And
you mentioned
Germans and all the other people, I am sure that they took them on face value and did the sponsoring, which is nothing to blame them for. But we who are suffering as a result of that should be the ones who should be digging to know what is in it for our people.
All right. I believe you are saying to every Ambazonian group working with HD, it is time to call it off. But I'm not putting words in your mouth. But you mentioned earlier your meeting with your meetings with British cabinet members, members of the House of Lords in Commons, and if I may ask, what did you perceive to be their response to these complaints, to what is going on in the southern Cameroon? Because I will say, England is one of the last country that has done anything. The Americans, they are doing a lot. They are doing a lot with that, we know. But instead of rising up and telling La République du Cameroon, you have to resolve this conflict, the abuse is signing trade deals with La République du Cameroon every day. They will not as much as take La République out of the Commonwealth. So what did they tell you?
Absolutely, you are correct about all the analysis you have done. The attitude of the UK is at the best just lukewarm. They are rather indifferent, and we can understand that because they are basically in bed with La République. So it is a very difficult process because to them, they cannot take the firm stand that other nations are taking, but that shouldn't discourage us from taking the story and analyzing it to them and saying what dangers lie ahead if they are indifferent. And that is that's the effort I have been making to try to get them to understand that there is something going on in our homeland. There is a genocide ongoing, and whether they believe us or not, if they wanted to reach 1 million people before they start believing, then someday we are very, very sure that La Republic will give it to them. It's a very difficult process. The English are at the best lukewarm about our situation. And it makes one really mad and almost, frustrated because they are the reason we are in that situation. And blaming anybody doesn't help any of us, but they did what they did in 1960. We have a chance to stand and do that correction today. And that is why my hope is that we can be able to pull the necessary, courage, change our minds, and move away from some of the things we've been doing so that we can be able to drive ourselves towards freedom. One of the things I've been insisting on has been this statement I've been making over and over. The liberation struggle is usually the choice of a people who want to free their homeland, and we have made that choice. And it is usually a DIY job. By DIY, I mean do it yourself. When you know that it's a do it yourself job, you strengthen yourself, you harden your resolve, and you do the things that can get you to that place. By the time you get to a strong position and you are pushing hard and building the revolution from ground upwards, even those who do not recognize that you are doing anything, they begin to recognize you. And that is what we need.
All right, Honorable Wirba, ladies and gentlemen, before we continue with the conversation here, I'd just like to remind all of you, ABS conducted a special fundraiser over the weekend, Friday and Sunday, and we know that many of you were not able to participate. We are appealing to you, if you can support ABS with a free will donation of $10, $25, $50, $1,000, we will deeply appreciate it. You can find the payment platforms right there on the screen. The payment platforms, if you are in Europe, you can use that to make a payment to support ABS. Again, you have a comprehensive European platform for payment right there. You can right now use your phone to take a snapshot of the screen and go ahead, make your donation while the program runs on. If you are in Canada, we have an e-transfer email that you find on your screen, and it is right there. Again, you can use your phone to make a snapshot to make a payment in support of ABS. But if you are in the USA, you can use either PayPal or Zelle or Cash App that you find on the screen to make that payment. It is deeply, greatly appreciated. Without your support, ABS will not be bringing you this kind of programming. Thank you very much for considering that. Now, I'm going to open the phone lines. I believe Honorable Wirba still has a few minutes to spend here to take a few phone calls from those of you. Especially, I'd like to hear from ground zero. But if you are in the diaspora, you are also welcome to call. I can only take phone calls from the regular phone number, please. I can only take phone calls from the regular phone number. I see the phones are ringing. So, Honorable Wirba, please, let's just sit in there. Let's see. Hello.
Hello, Secretary Chris.
Hello, sir. May I know where you're calling in from, please?
From Maryland, Secretary Chris.
From Maryland. All right. What is your contribution, sir?
I want to appreciate Honorable for coming. I have some worries about the Honorable structure, and I feel that if Honorable has a good intention for this revolution, he should instead put the leaders together. Ambazonians respect him a lot, and if he should come forward and tell Ambazonians that he called Ayaba did not come, he called Marianta, she did not come, Ambazonia will hold them responsible. The structures of Honorable Wirba are already existing. Take for example, Honorable says we should form family committees. We have 15 of us in our family, but I'm the only one who support Ambazonia. How do I form a committee with a family that are all at Republic? So I believe the structures of Honorable Wirba, we already have them in our LGA, in our counties. So I believe Honorable Wirba should concentrate on bringing the leaders together. He should call them. We respect him. He should call them. If they refuse to come, he should tell us, Ambazonians, that this leader refused to come. We will know how to deal with him.
Thank you.
This revolution is very complicated. To think that we have to go into churches to form committees is dangerous, because we have the Republic agents everywhere. We need to be safe to where we belong to prosecute the revolution.
All right, thank you, sir. I think Honorable gets your point. You will respond to it, but let me get trying to get as many callers as possible.
Just a second to the Chris.
Okay.
Honorable talk of doing things privately. No, Sako told us of doing things privately, but it was all scam. So things will be put to the public for people. We are no more at the level of private issues. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Honorable, please quickly take do it. I mean, but that's the same point I brought to you. The structures are already there. I think, as the caller says, it's a matter of you picking the phone and saying, "Hey, Madam President Marianta, Ntumfoibo Herbert, Comrade Akwanga, please, let's sit down."
I'm saying the same position which I held before. The question I keep asking is, where do you people think, or like my brother, the caller, where does he think I have the power to invite anybody to tell them what I think? Where do I have that power from? I do not have that power. So one of the things I am doing, and by the way, there have been issues raised, maybe because I don't say much sometimes, there have been issues raised. People ask, who am I? You know? The people who have set up their structures, they would, I don't want somebody running me down or feeling that I'm trying to take something from them. I'm keeping my, my peace in my own little area. So it's one of the things that I would keep saying. I haven't been able to feel I do not have the power to anybody. That's the first thing. Then secondly, in reference to what he just put up about the committees, nobody is asking you to go to some church. I gave an example of how people organize elsewhere. Going to some church. If you are setting committees to liberate your country, you are setting the committees of believers, people who believe that they can be ready to give all to do liberation. And Chris, by the way, I took 2 commitments for the evening, and my time is almost out. I was supposed to actually find out with you by 10. So
we'll just take a few phone calls, Honorable. Just a few phone calls, and we'll call it a day. All right, let's get to this guy calling from London. Hello.
I can just take one of.
Yes. Good evening, Secretary Chris. Nice to see you having Honorable Wirba on this platform.
Thank you.
Yes, I actually also want to appreciate you for bringing such dignity in our platform, and I also appreciate that you bring people like Dr. Ayabachu Lucas. I know Honorable Wirba did send out invitation to a person like Ayabachu Lucas, and I wouldn't want to disclose the kind of arrogance that was sent or that was responded to Honorable Wirba, but we have the message that was sent to Ayaba and Ayaba. Because of the fact that we don't want a lot of little polemic in this revolution, I am not going to disclose that, but I think I will forward you the message because we have it. There is a lot of arrogance in this revolution. When Honorable Wirba says he do not have that power, that is because certain leaders feel they are untouchable, that they cannot even, they don't even appreciate a person who have left a mighty position in Cameroon and has put his, has given a lot. So I am
comrade, I think these are the talking points that Honorable has already put out, explained here himself. I think if we dwell again on that way.
Yes, so it is just to tell you that at least Honorable made an attempt to reach out to certain leaders. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that update. Okay, let's see who is calling here. I hope we can get somebody from Ground Zero. Hello. Hello. Please, before you call, shut down the volume of your set. I can't pick your call if your set is turned on. Hello.
Yes. Hello, Secretary Chris.
Hello, sir. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Pennsylvania. This is Jackson.
Okay.
All right. I have two questions for Honorable. Number one question is, we've heard about so much of him inviting leaders and they did not come. So my question to him is, did he talk to them, have a discussion with them before inviting them? Or he just went for a book launch and then invited them to come, number one? Or he planned an event in Stuttgart and invited them to come? Because when you do things like that, that is the wrong way. I understand he had just criticized the HD, but if that is what he did, which I know that's what he did, then he's doing the same wrong thing that is accusing the HD of doing. You don't wait until there's an event, the people that you're supposed to be talking to them, then you invite them to that ceremony. I think that is out of place. Number two question. He keeps calling the groups that we have up here, the government and whoever, internet. That is not swinging. My question to you, the Honorable Wirba, is that, does he know that all the 2 outings that he has gone out, they all have been on internet? When you call people internet government and you are coming out through ABS and other fora to put out your agenda out there through the same internet, are you not doing the same thing you are accusing other people of doing? And where is your humility to accept that people are wrong without making them look bad, so that you be the only one person in the house standing? Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's a legitimate question, and I asked that question from the beginning. Honorable, I mean, do you have a problem with the internet? You had your meetings on internet. I'm referring to Zoom and stuff. Do you have a problem with the internet?
Chris, is this what we are here for? Come on. I think we have better things to be worrying about. We have better things to be worrying about, Chris.
But again, these are reactions. These are reactions from your statements.
There is a means of passing a message. And everyone has the opportunity to pass theirs. I have nothing against the internet. All I am saying is, are we using it for good or for ill? So, to me, I am making those references because I'm also seeing the damage that using the internet wrongly has brought to our revolution. There's a lot of damage that has been done, and I don't know whether we recognize that.
All right, let's get to this other caller here. Hello.
Hello, good evening, Secretary Chris. I'm calling from the
Island Mountain. I have a commitment.
I want to greet every one of you on the studio. I have a question for Honorable Wirba.
Okay, go on, please, surely.
Yes,
So what is your question? What is your question?
My question is, did he know this struggle? Because he talks about belief and he talks about putting structures that will lead us. Those are two things, because he's talking about knowing what to do and believing. So I want him to differentiate to us. What I'm asking is that, does he believe in the struggle or know this struggle?
All right. Honorable Wirba, do you believe in the struggle or you know the struggle?
Chris, thank you very much. To give a straight answer to the gentleman, it's a very simple process. You cannot believe what you do not know, even if you only presume that you know. You have to know something and then believe in it. And why I've been stressing on the belief factor is because those who are standing up and dying are those who believe in the freedom of their homeland. They are those who want that independence that we're all asking for. That is what they do. They will believe in it enough that they can stand and die for it. So when we refer to belief, it is because that is what makes people give their all. Because you cannot put so much in something you do not believe in, no matter how much you know it. If your heart is not in it, you cannot believe.
All right. I take the last question, and this is the only one from ground zero. Their networks have been very poor. The last question for you, Honorable Wirba. I will take more questions for myself when you leave because of your time constraints. Hello.
Yeah, good evening, Secretary Chris, with Honorable Wirba.
Good evening, sir. Where did you call from?
Good evening.
I did call for Ground Zero.
Which place for ground zero? Which county? Which town? City?
I did for Abakwa.
Okay. All right. Thank you. What will be your question for Honorable?
Abakwa
Yeah,
boy.
the very first I want to say, Secretary Chris, you be too arrogant. You be too arrogant because in the already over arrogant make and so that way 39 go disappear. So stop.
Which 39? Which 39 are you referring to? Listen, if you don't have a question for Honorable Wirba, I just put you off. We need somebody with a question for him, not calling to make attacks. Okay. All right. This is Kumba. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes, I'm calling.
Yes, sir. Go on. Well, that's a bad connection. That's a bad connection there. Let's get this last caller. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Chris.
Good afternoon, sir. Calling from where?
This is Sabat Thomas calling from Bed.
Okay, sir. Good evening. What's your question?
Yeah, I got two questions to ask Honorable Wirba. Honorable Wirba believe in the Southern Cameroon struggle that much. Why did he choose to stay in La Republic's parliament for 25 years, of which they were not listening to him in that parliament? Secondly, Honorable Wirba is talking about his ruling council. What is the difference between Honorable Wirba's Revolutionary Council and the various structures that are fighting for the liberation of the Southern Cameroons? Is this his Liberation Council going to be the golden egg that will deliver the liberation of the Southern Cameroons?
What do you want him to say? To say no?
Let him answer the people.
All right. Thank you for the call, Honorable Wirba. Please, this is the last call I have for you because of time constraint. Go on, please.
Thank you. I appreciate the gentleman. By the way, there's a point of correction. I was never in parliament for 25 years. Never. In fact, I was in it just for 3.5, and I was thrown off the place. So I've never been there that long. So he should learn that. The only other thing I want to stress about doing revolutionary committees for the liberation of Amazonia is the fact that I want them to understand that there's a difference between that, because you can have as many of those committees as you would want that would involve so many people, and that is the involvement of the common people that I'm talking about, the ordinary people, the citizens of the nation, the the people who can pull it together. Because as I've said, Chris, lots and lots of times, a revolution, a liberation movement is always about three things. First, the people. Second, the people. Third, the people. If you do not get the people from the grassroots involved, and as many of them as possible who believe in it, you do not go very far. My reason for proposing this is so that we learn to put down the building blocks. I know it is difficult, but in order to get this freedom and this independence we are asking for, we need to learn to do the hard work and the difficult thing. It is that difficult thing that can take us to where we are going to. Remember what the boys standing and fighting are sacrificing. Remember what those who are supporting them are sacrificing on the ground. They cannot be doing that, and we think that the greatest thing that is difficult for us is to create a certain thing that can gain traction and give them what they need in order to drive us to Boya. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable. I wish we could take more calls especially from Ground Zero, but unfortunately, time on your side wouldn't permit that. But I appreciate you coming on board to take some of these questions and answer them, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks. I really appreciate that. And one last comment before I go is to tell you in particular that we should start tuning down the rhetoric. We should start tuning down the rhetoric, Chris.
Is that a little indictment or what do you call that?
No, it's not an indictment. I say we should start tuning it down because there is a lot we need to do. There's a lot of hard work we need to be doing.
Well, Honorable, I get where you are coming from. I get where you are coming from, but I'm telling you, when you do the work that we do and see the way people just sit by the wayside and throw stones and talk trash, you can't take it. You can't take it.
I know. But we have to be growing in order to learn how to handle it so that we get more people, pulling towards the same direction. So thank you very much.
I wish you had been in the front lines ever since we came to the diaspora. I think your language will be a little bit different. But thank you for coming on. We'll see.
All right, I appreciate that. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, that was the one and only Honorable Wirba, the man who started it from La République du Cameroon Parliament. I will still open the phone lines for those of you on Ground Zero, and I'd like to hear what you think, because most of you who called could not express yourselves because of the network. I will open the line soon, again, for those of you on Ground Zero in the diaspora to kind of chip in what you think about the responses from Honorable Wirba. In the meantime, please, I'm asking all of you out there to support ABS. If you were not out at the weekend to support ABS, I'm asking you to please consider making a donation to ABS within this last 30 minutes of the broadcast. We can actually do better, and I promise you we're going to be doing better in the days ahead. But it takes your support. It takes your recognition that we are actually working for all of us here to be able to continue to do this. So please, if you are in Canada, use that email address for an e-transfer, payment for ABS. And if you are in Europe, in London, you can also use your phone, take the screenshot of this payment platform, go ahead, make your payment. And if you are in the continental USA, you have the PayPal information there, info@absafricatv.com for PayPal. Again, info@absafricatv.com. gmail.com. And then for Zelle, you have the phone number there. What you can do is, again, please use your phone, take a screenshot, and use that information to make a payment that supports ABS, ladies and gentlemen. This has been quite exciting, and right now I will get back to the phones while you go ahead, make your payment, support ABS, and I will be, when you make your payment, please just forward the receipt so I can acknowledge you and appreciate you. Let me get to ground zero with this callers here. My phone is ringing crazy. Hello.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Please turn down the volume of your TV and focus on the phone.
Yeah, I'm getting you 5 on 5.
Yes, turn down the volume of your set. Focus on your phone.
Yeah. I'm already on my phone. I'm listening better on my phone, not on my TV.
All right, go on, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Abakwa.
All right. Yes, what is your contribution?
Yes, my contribution is just that I'm so happy with what Wirba has said. I am very happy, and I want to say what I want to just contribute in it is just that I will plead that we should at least listen to him. You see, all what he is saying, all what he wanted, we may only understand him if only he must have maybe start producing what he is actually trying to sell to us here.
Don't you think that the right thing for him to have done was to assemble other leaders together and see how they can work together instead of trying to duplicate what these other leaders are already doing, especially the interim government?
Yes, that is true. That is what he is supposed to do, but he has not done it because one reason, he's a human being. He's not a robot that we must definitely do it that way. So he must have not done it. But we should also to believe that in a country where there are so many schools, for us to choose the right school is when the school is actually producing that we want. And when we see that the school is producing well, okay, good and fine. For now, he has not yet started producing what he wants. I think we should just say, okay, good and fine. So let those that were hanging on the fence that has not been supporting, let them go with
but if I may ask you, what then if tomorrow he comes out and say, hey, I didn't succeed because the government didn't support me, you people did not support me, you were all concerned about your government or your groups? How would you know whether
the interim government as of now has his supporters, and his supporters are glued to him because that is the only movement that is producing? That is true. He is coming up with an ideology that this has not been going this way because of this, because of that. But yet, actually, as of this moment, I can't tell you I've listened or heard anything that could say this is the way out. But I want you to do something for me, secretaries. You people should do your back discussion and listen to those key things that he wanted, because maybe it could be some targeted things that he thought that they could do, which could still be of help to the struggle. So please, that's just all right. That is my humble request.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. You have a great night.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay. Let's see. Ground zero. Hello.
Good evening, Secretary Chris.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Fako County, precisely Ekona.
Oh, okay. Thank you. What is your contribution?
Yes, I go talk for Pidgin because I want just talk say if we listen Honorable Wirba or he talk we don't talk with all the respect we ground zero get away. It shows say Honorable Wirba, if we look and logically, it work with the Republic. It go towards federation. We not deny federation.
Say I start the interview by asking him whether he believe in independence. Be here.
He believe in independence. I say if you look at logically, you will see say because forming committees, it come now a divisive measures it still bring up. Those committees are for what? Why not follow the other train we already did and try to correct the errors when they inside the train?
All right. Yeah.
My contribution.
Thank you. Your opinion is legit. Thank you. Thanks for the call. Okay, let's see who else is calling. Hello.
Yeah, Chris.
Hello, good evening, sir.
From Ground Zero.
Where on Ground Zero?
Meme County, Kumba.
Okay, yes, go on, sir.
Yes, please, I want to plead with you. Since the network is disturbing, try to read the SMS of your WhatsApp. We send our questions on observation through SMS, but all the same, let me proceed. You see, Wirba represent those classes of Amazonians who speak from both sides of their mouth. I see in Wirba an agent of
Well, I think you have a network.
Can you hear me?
All right, go on, you are back.
Yes, if he were still on the show, I would have asked him to tell him about
Well, you have network
to
problems.
increase the firepower in Amazonia or in the county where it comes from. And then secondly, I would have also loved to ask him what his revolutionary committee will do that the IG and others have not done. So, sir, next time when such people come on board, check your SMS message.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Okay, let's see who is next here. Ground Zero. Hello. Hello, turn down the volume of your TV, sir. Turn down the volume of your TV.
I'm just getting away from the television.
All right, go on. So where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Apakwa.
Please, a lot of singing in your background. Let's get to the next caller. Please, before you call, make sure you are away from your television. Hello.
Hello, Secretary Chris.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Grawansa.
Okay, and what is your contribution?
Yes, thank you so much. My contribution is I want to join my voice with Wirba. Let's forget about the Swiss dialogue. Let's forget about it. It will not work. Swiss, they are in partner with La Republique. So I support him on that. It will not work. But the other thing again I wanted to ask Wirba is that, okay, last time you brought, last year or early this year, you brought one man from Somaliland. The man explained how it was only through firepower that they were able to get their freedom, their independence. Then how comes we cannot still maintain this same firepower? Then we get our freedom, our independence. And I wanted to tell Honorable that it's only the true firepower that passed on this 20th May that the whole world is knowing that it was a fake national day. The whole world now has known again, and that's another good result for us, Amazonia, because of this firepower.
Right, thank you.
I wanted to, Wirba, to join you people for the same firepower. That's my contribution.
Thank you, sir. I hope he is listening to you, and I think that is what all of us hope for. And I kept asking him why he couldn't work with the rest of the groups who are sponsoring this firepower, but he chose to go with the committees. But thank you for the call. Okay, let's see. Who is this? Ground Zero. Hello. Please turn down the volume of your television and focus on the phone.
Yeah, it's off. It's off. Thank you very much.
All right, where are you calling from, sir?
I'm calling from Mezam County.
Okay, and what is your contribution?
Yeah, I want to talk
talk, I wish Honorable Wirba were still there. I want to support the other caller who said Honorable Wirba should, all his ideology is a duplication of what is already existing. Secondly, Honorable Wirba was saying that he doesn't want to be a politician and that the structures that are existing are political structures. But I look at Wirba to be a very intelligent politician who, having been to the diaspora, took his time to study the existing structures and is now selling his ideology by moving around doing campaigns. He's moving around doing campaigns in order that his ideology should be bought, and so that when he starts it, he should become the leader. So I see it as a duplication, and a way to sell himself and his ideology. You see, presenting pictures of what he is doing to say the refugees and so on is already a campaign system which he's putting in place.
All right.
Saying that he is not a politician and so on, he's just trying to blindfold people.
Okay, I'm glad you got that from him, not from me, because yes. I asked the questions.
Yes. So I'm saying that if Honorable Wirba is sincere to himself, he would have joined the struggle, he would have joined the existing structures and then brought his ideas to expand the base so that if it is the idea of committees, it should be formed. Not that he should be condemning. I don't see with him at all. I think in fact, he's trying to do a good thing by putting down what is existing. So I think he's only selling his ideology, and I wouldn't like that. But I like him for one thing. He has cleared the air that he is not a federalist, as people have been saying. As the former leadership was saying, and I want to think that this also credits him and makes us our doubt in the former leadership to be very clear here now that a person like Sako was divisive. He had divisive tendencies and this.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you.
People so as to grip himself on the seat. So I think so.
All right, thank you. Your connection has a little problem. Thank you for the call. Okay, this is ground zero again. Hello. Please, before you call, shut down the volume of your TV. Hello.
Hello. Yes, good evening, Secretary Chris.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from?
Yes, I'm calling from Mezam County on ground zero.
Okay, and what is your contribution, sir?
Yes, I want to start by appreciating you for the great effort of always inviting the key persons that matter on your program. Actually, I want to say that Honorable Wirba, as it stands, even though he sounded so somehow whimsical as far as his conversation with you on the program is concerned, but I believe as at now that he stands a better chance to ensure that unity actually reigns and that this cause is actually fought in the right direction. Because for now, the major problem we are facing on this struggle not moving forward is, Comrade Cho Ayaba. Cho Ayaba is actually the one causing division and making us not to move in the right direction. If for the past 5 years or getting to 6 years now, we have not had what we are looking for, it is because we are fighting in different directions. And I must applaud the fact that he raised a very pertinent point, which I think if we, even though he is, not wanting to be the uniting force or stand because people will be asking that, but who are you, and things like that. I believe if he stands to unite, President Marianta, Cho Ayaba, Comrade Bohebet, the consortium, and all the other movements or the factions that exist in this struggle, if he stands to bring them all together without actually, nursing any ambitions, bringing them together to reason in a common direction, even to implement some of the aspects of the whatever he calls the revolutionary councils, which I believe to an extent, if you all sit down together and put your heads together at the end of the day, you come to a common understanding of what he is trying to say, and I think we'll be moving towards the right direction in achieving our objectives as far as this struggle is concerned.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. We need to take other callers. Thank you for the call. Okay, let's see who is next here. Hello.
Hello, Secretary Chris.
Hello, sir. Good. Where are you calling from?
This is calling from Japan.
Calling from Japan. What is the time out there in Japan, sir?
This is around 8 minutes to 7 a.m. Tuesday morning.
Wow, 8 minutes to 7 a.m. Tuesday morning. Okay.
Tuesday morning.
All right. What is your contribution, sir?
I'm so sorry I couldn't participate in the ABS fundraising for the past 2 days. The other reason is the time difference is really much. I think we have almost 15 hours difference, so I can't participate in any of your programs. So this one today, I saw the poster and I said, let me try as much as possible to attend to this one. At least I'll listen to Honorable Wirba. But Honorable Wirba should understand that he keeps saying that, asking a question as to why do people think he got the powers to invite others? No. If any leader can stay behind and ask such question, no one would have been here today.
Correct.
Yeah. So he has made the announcement of how much he has raised. He has raised money. Where did he get powers to raise money?
Okay.
So I think the first mistake that the Honorable Wirba made, I'm sure even if he's not listening to me, he will listen to this last part of the show.
Absolutely.
Someone like me, when the respect I have for Honorable Wirba, the day he stood in that parliament and spoke on behalf of his people, everyone saw a leader in him. Everyone saw a giant leader in him. But coming out and he has been so quiet, the first outing was he came out instead of talking to the people, he came and criticized them. That was very, very wrong. And he has stayed up today. The last week in Stuttgart, he made the same. He still went on to criticize. I think Honorable Wirba should really step up and come out clear.
All right. I think you make the point, and those are the questions we put to him, and I guess he will know that the questions are not only being asked here, but that.
Someone like me, the speech that Honorable Wirba made in the big parliament, I have it all in my head. I can recite it all over from the start to finish. That tells you how the kind of respect I had for this man, that I had to capture that thing and kept it on to today.
All right, comrade. Thank you for the call. I believe he will listen to this part of the broadcast and hear opinion like yours. And just for your information, please go ahead, go to the website, support ABS. If you couldn't do it on Friday or Sunday.
I'll contact you from the background, then I will let you know how to channel my own leader support.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Good day.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the great work you're doing.
All right. All right. Hello. 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 Okay, not picking the call. Let's see. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Where are you calling from?
Ground Zero of Accra.
All right. What is your contribution, sir?
All right. so I'll just go straight by saying that you people that we call leaders, you don't stop to surprise us. It shocks me that Honorable Wirba could talk for hours, and then when he got to calls, he got up and said he's busy. That's really shocking.
Well, I hope he hears you.
It's surprising. Well, I just wanted to plead with you, Chris. You look at that. You, a nice man, your brother is in the bush. And this case, sometimes you interview people and you talk like you're a neutral person on the side. You're right there in the fire and you're seeing people that put you on fire and you cannot take them like, well, what I want to say is, you, Chris, you have the responsibility to talk to that man behind the scenes. Get everything. You come on. He's trying to lead you too. You are Southern Cameroonian. Question him to every detail that you can.
Tell me what question that you think I should have asked that I didn't ask.
Yeah, I think he needs a lot of explanation to do about the things he's telling you.
You are very correct. You are very correct. Unfortunately, when you have 2 hours for somebody who hasn't spoken for years, there is only so much you can do.
I believe he knows your brother is dying in the bush for him. It means that whatever sacrifice he's doing for us, your brother is doing 10 times more. Like, that's just the facts about the issue. So you have to, like, in your brother's shoes, why is he talking here if he hasn't communicated with your brother up till now? Is that not a breach of who is he working for? What does he want? If he talks to the field marshal and the field marshal projects him, it makes 100% more sense. Why is he coming to the diaspora to accept? And then when Wirba says that he does not have the power to invite this person or that person or talk for any person, when he stood in the parliament, was it the whole of Southern Cameroon that voted him to speak for them like that? He should continue his fufu. They say finish your fufu. Joseph Wirba, you have to finish your fufu, please.
All right. You said it also. I hope he hears you. Thank you. But you got to know that when I invite people, my goal here is not to interrogate them or speak on their behalf. I just ask the question, expect the answers made, and then you out there make your judgment. Thank you for the call. Hello. Hello, can you shut down the volume of your TV set in the background, please?
Hello?
Yes, hello, sir. Where are you calling from? It's a bad connection there, ladies and gentlemen. That's a bad connection. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. May I know where you are calling in from, please?
Calling from Ground Zero, Mezam County.
Okay, what is in your mind?
Yeah, I want to appreciate the wonderful work you are doing, and most of the questions have been answered, but I wanted to just find out from Mr. Wirba, even you can answer it. Do you believe that if all our parliamentarians, all the English-speaking parliamentarians leave the La Republic Parliament, would that be able to fast-track this struggle? That's the question. The other one is an observation.
Thank you. I believe that absolutely, 100%.
Yes, so if you believe that, can we now refocus our struggle to that? Can we regroup our energies to that? Then the other one is an observation, sir, that arrogance and impunity with most of these leaders abroad, if they can moderate their arrogance, their impunity in the way they do things, probably will equally fast track this struggle. That's just an observation, sir. And I support the last caller that you should work at the background, Mr. Wirba. I believe things will move faster. Thank you very much. Thank you for the wonderful work. May God bless you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the call. Okay, I'll take the last caller for the day and we move on. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Cristiano.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Ganwan.
Okay, what is your contribution?
My contribution is that Mr. Wirba, Honorable Wirba, is a great man. We have to appreciate what he did in the parliament. We have to appreciate him. But one thing is that he don't want to unite because he came to abroad, because he ran away from here and went to abroad. He was supposed to at least first start with the people that are walking the ground. He was not supposed to say that I went and stay behind looking. No, that is not the way they are fighting. If you want the independent, you have to come with a firefighting. He was supposed to join you people and say that, okay, brothers, we have to start like this. As you people have started doing this one, we have to go this way. If his own ideology is good, we have to start it, but he was supposed to join you people. That is my own contribution. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you. I wish everybody talks about unity, but nobody wants to unite, right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we will call it a night here. Thanking you so much, but please remember, ABS needs your support, especially those of you who did not tune in on Friday and Sunday to support ABS fundraiser. You still have the payment information here. For PayPal, you have info@absafricatv.com, and for Zelle, you have the number there. For Cash App, you also have the Cash App information there. And for those in Europe, you can find the payment information on your screen. Please, ABS needs you. ABS needs you. Take your camera, get a snapshot of this screen to make your payment to support ABS. Oh, by the way, I need to check to see if anybody made a payment and sent a receipt for me to acknowledge. Let me see. Oh, the calls have just covered up everything here. The calls have covered up everything here. All right, I think I'm seeing all the calls, so many of them. Over 448 calls here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, 848 calls. Am I correct? Let me see. Yes, 848 calls came in within this short time. 848 calls, and you can imagine I took not up to 20 callers. That is really something there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your staying put to watch, and I appreciate your support for ABS. I look forward to being back here, possibly not until next Monday, but of course Mike Fusi will be here, and other producers will be here. And do not also forget that Sunday is a special fundraiser. Sunday is a special fundraiser, ladies and gentlemen, for the Restoration Forces on Ground Zero. Sunday. And as I said before, some of our fighters, the generals, the field marshals, the commanders, they will join us in that fundraiser on Sunday. So please get ready. Let us replenish what they lost. over the 5 days of lockdown. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. God bless you. I look forward to seeing you back on Monday. Yes, on Monday. All right. All right. Good night.
Les léopards de la RDC, notre fierté nationale. Le coach Florent Ibenge amène ses joueurs aussi loin qu'elle exige la compétition. Dieudonné Banze Lubunji. Marcel Tisserand, Trésor Mboutou Mabi. Jean-Marie Foum Baba Sabo. Jean Pamouaka, la sémence et la récolte. Claude, Kaboulou, Mwana Kaboulou. Jossard Nyokalongo. Reste grave. Louison Koulongoy. Ferdinand Moussatoula. Miller Lutelo. Alex Mfumunzi. Honorable Alita Chamala. Papi Matezolo. Paul Bindu. Pacific Palace. Peter Wemodinga. Dado Mizwa. JP Diamantino, Babanga Yatalo. Parfait Mandanda. Matan Pilei, Bamona Potote. Jano Pinano, Nero Mungu, Fumu Yabanga Moyo. Il est là, la voix nationale. Assistant ça, ILK.
Jouez le ballon, marquez le but, on est dans les bons, Bobo Oubenga, ça se passe bien. C'est que Louzenga, ça se passe bien.
Prêtre. Le souverain premier, JB Piana. Le roi de la forêt, Werrason.
C'est qui qui va quand vous jouez le ballon, Anthony Mossi, on est dans les bons.
Alain Balay.
Et à son là, Sylvie Silgas, victoire dans les bars du Congo.
Air Force One, Alain Tendai. Kayembe Shentemba. Cédric Bakambu, la chicotte toujours. Brit Asombalanga.
Lodingo da matatu lei babeti.
Wilfried Moke.
Congolais, totele bato komisa bayoka na biso.
Bato bazosepela yo ofandi lokola auto blende.